Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel. This is Business Connections Live with Steve Hyland.
Hello there, welcome along to Business Connections Live, the program for entrepreneurs, SMEs and business owners. Now, in today's show, we're going to be discussing the Big 100 business tips. The Big 100 business tips, this is going to be a cracking show. I don't actually think we're going to get through 100 big business tips, but we will get through as many as we possibly can today. Joining me in the studio is an old friend to the show. I use the term old loosely. Ian Dickson, international business speaker. Ian, it's lovely to have you on the programme.
Thanks for inviting me back. Short memories you lot have got.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what somebody else said to me as well. Listen, for those people that don't know who Ian Dickson is, far away. What do you do? What are you all about then?
Oh, God. So, year 15, helping small to medium-sized businesses to grow. And then about 8-9 years ago, somebody discovered me and then they started asking me to speak on stages pretty much anywhere. So I get to travel now, a business show, keynote every year. But my bread and butter really is helping people like these people watching to grow their business, really. And I say it flippantly, but I kind of make stuff up and try and do something disruptive. We were talking about it earlier, try and Ianize things just to give it a fresh coat of paint so that people will embrace something that maybe has already been out there.
But you've been out there as a mentor to businesses for a number of years, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, you do this speaking malarkey. And I think there are a lot of speakers out there that do the talk but don't actually do the walk. They've never run their own business. In fact, the only business they've ever run is their speaking business. Yeah. And you have done the walk as well, haven't you?
Yeah, it's my third business. I currently coach about 28 different businesses. I think it's 28. So 4 new ones this month. So that'll be over 30 once they get going. And 15 years it's been steady, so hundreds and hundreds of businesses. I get on their bus, so for me it feels like it's kind of my business too. So, but this is my own third business. I also come from a corporate background, so I get to know what it's like on either side of the fence. And I think it was the very first show I came on. You sort of alluded to the fact that there's people out there that don't necessarily walk the talk, and it's a bit of a soapbox for me because it's an unregulated industry. Anybody can stick a badge on, and I said, let's name them. Let's get it out there and let's name them. But I think a lot of people.
And the libel suits, they weren't that expensive, quite frankly.
Underwritten, yeah. So we'll be fine. So, yeah. So, but of course you're right, and I think one of my things is that I talk about what money loves. I've now got 2 things that money desperately loves, and I see it at the business show every year, and I'm sure we'll come to it. So, and it is to do with this whole thing about being buying into something that you think is going to give you the solution from somebody that hasn't got a clue what the solution is.
I heard a frightening statistic when it comes to people who are now speaking, that 42,000 speakers join the speaking market each and every year.
Wow.
In London.
No way, just in London?
Just in London, 42,000 people. That's 42,000 people who are telling you probably a lot of the time what you already know.
Yeah.
And leadership, I think you see a lot on leadership, don't you, out there? Being in flow, or call it whatever you want it. Neuroscience seems to be a big area that people are talking about at the moment. Leadership, though, is the one. Business change is the other one, and also social media gurus.
Of course, the social media guru one, again, 15 years in, and no disrespect to all these people that I just haven't found them yet. Good, reliable, and capable marketing gurus that are actually marketing gurus. So they're good at marketing themselves, I've coached marketing companies, so that have struggled to make their businesses work. So it's.
Before we get into the points, because we've got 100 game changers to try and get through, we'll get nowhere near that at all. And I understand you were talking at the business show recently where the pitch was 20 game-changing ideas, and you only got as far as 18, and a couple of people went, what are the other 2 then? I'd like to complain. I didn't get my full 20. Just absolutely bizarre that should actually happen. But what's the most common situation that you're seeing when you go into businesses? When you're mentoring them right now, what are the mistakes that many of the businesses are making that you're talking to?
So I don't think it's so much. Well, okay, so I'll give you a mistake. So something that people monster is that they vastly underestimate just how much is required for people to find and know you. So,
we'll call that the first one.
Right.
There we go. Job done.
So it's vastly underestimating just how much is required. So now that we are predominantly, for the first time actually, that stats have come out in the last 3 months that we spend more money on our online marketing than our offline marketing now. So, and we vastly underestimate how much is required from a quantity perspective to get people to know us, like us and trust us enough to want to start inquiring.
Know us, like us, love us, trust us. It's all there, isn't it? Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty then. So let's first of all, a little bit of the concept behind this. You do a number of days where you will stand in front of business owners and you will rattle through 100 game-changing tips for people. You're going to be doing another little bit later on. Last year you did 100 tips for 100 people for 100 quid.
100% money back guarantee.
And 100% money. Oh, another 100 in there as well. This year you're doing 100, but 250 people. So if you want to get tickets, we will give you an opportunity to find out how to get hold of those tickets on this particular, on our programme page on Business Connections Live, if you want to find out more about that. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty then.
I want to share the backstory behind this.
Okay, share the backstory.
So it's really short. So we all have these like moments when we're in, what I call the shower moments. I was just driving my car, and every year I just like to do one event for me now. So because I flattered to get invited all over the place, and I stopped doing my own and I missed it. So I thought, well, I'm going to do something next year, but I didn't know really what to do. And I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll do 100 business tips in a day. So I phoned my own home and left myself a voicemail so that I would remember it, because I was in the car, which is a good trick.
Yep.
So I rang and left my message at home, and then I posted out across Facebook and LinkedIn, look out for 100 business tips coming in 2017. I then got home and thought, steady. Do I even know 100 business tips? So I kind of not panicked, but I thought I need to start listing some of these, because that's a lot. So anyway, I started listening. I got to about 150 something, and I stopped. I thought we're going to be fine. So it's sometimes you just kind of know something's going to work, and you just know it's going to be right. So,
do you gauge the reaction from your audience when you are giving the tips? Because it must be very difficult. Everybody's circumstances are going to be different, aren't they? Some people are going to be business owners. Some are going to be operating a small business where they've got a number of people. The problems are going to be different as well. May well be finance, marketing, sales. So the whole situation can be very different for each individual.
So that spreadsheet, if I get into the technicalities of it, so I put it on a spreadsheet. And then mindset, knowledge and action. So thinky ones to help with
mindset,
attitude.
Knowledge and action.
Yeah. And then the knowledge one is just straight out, do it this way. And then the action tips are more around keeping people accountable. It might be much straight out marketing ideas. So I categorise them so that we've got an even split across those three. So there is some, I don't just throw them out, there is some science behind it. The whole idea is that if you throw 100 pieces of SH1T, some of it is gonna stick. So, and the idea is that if it's £1 a tip and you only come away with 10, you still haven't done bad on the day. So, because one thing can be business changing. So.
Is there one tip where you hear a gasp in the room? So you go, and tip number 23 is this, and you see people's reaction change. They,
I ask. Towards the end of the day, we get we get some feedback from the room. What have been the big ones? So one of them is this money one which would be our first dinger. So we'll do the money one. So bearing in mind that this is either stuff that I've Ianized, or it's stuff. I flippantly say I just make it up, but it's just my take on the world. After 15 years, you just think, let's paint it a different colour and see if people will like it that way. So.
All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. Let's get into this. As I said, it is the big 100 business tips. No way are we going to be able to do 100 business tips in this show, but we will do as many as we can. We may even will we be able to give some form of a hint to some of the tips on a giveaway? Or is that giving the talk away?
Yeah, no.
Because then everybody could do it.
Tip number 1, buy my tickets. Come to the big 100
That's
day.
It. There we go then.
That's it, show. Should we down the pub?
Yes.
We're done.
All right, let's get a couple in before we have a little bit of a break then. Let's fire away.
Right, so one of the big ones that everybody loves at the event is, bear in mind we change them every year, but money loves speed. So... that's it. You don't want any more information?
No, some more information, yeah.
Right, so you must always demonstrate how quickly, in stock, available, stock levels, anything that demonstrates how quickly you'll deliver your product or service will get somebody to pay more money for whatever it is. So anybody that's watching, go out and look at your outward facing marketing, and does it show how quickly, next day delivery, in stock, whatever it might be, phone answered immediately, all of these kind of things. Money loves speed. People will buy things from you and spend more money on it if you demonstrate how quickly you will deliver.
Now it's a ding. That's one down.
Money loves greed. All right? Money loves greed. As human beings, we want the shortcut. And so all of these shows that I go to and all this stuff we were talking about with these selling the promise is that we get caught up by buying things because we think it's going to give us a shortcut to what we want. So it's the whole classic, that the buyer beware. If you think that somebody is trying to give you something and it sounds like too good a deal, then it probably is too good a deal. There is no shortcut to great places. Actually, on the contrary, which will be the next one. So I'll give you another one after.
All right, so more from Ian in just a few moments' time of this edition. This is good. My phone keeps switching off, and that's where the dinger is. So more from Ian Dickson in just a few moments' time. Ian is an international business speaker. We're looking today at the big 100 business tips. That's what today's show is all about. We hope you're going to get something. I love the first two because that is what business is all about. Show me the money. So more from Ian Dickson in just a few moments' time here on Business Connections Live. Hi, it's great to have your company with us today. We are live from our studios in West London. It's good to know that you're out there. Good show today with Ian. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go back a week. Last week's programme, a real insight. We were talking to Joe Taylor, Client Services Director, Manpower Group Solutions, and we were looking at how automation will impact your workforce. Some really good advice from Joe, particularly in the field of when it comes to employing new people for your organisation, and also the services that Manpower Group Solutions can provide for you as well as an employer. Good show. If you want to watch the entire program, you can go to our website at businessconnectionslive.com. But to give you the highlights from last week's edition of the program, here's Joe Taylor on Business Connections Live. My guest on today's program is Joe Taylor. She's Client Services Director, Manpower Group Solutions, and we are talking about automation in the workplace and how it's going to affect you.
Manpower is known very well for our sort of blue-collar staffing business, which is sort of a really key part of what we do, but we also have a large solutions part of our business. Our RPOs, which is better known as recruitment process outsourcing, and also our contingent supply, our managed service programs. So the days of job for life and needing a very solid career history on your CV is kind of gone. There's a lot more acceptance in employers now, and actively we look for people that have worked in different environments, that have changed roles, that can bring different perspectives and skills to an opportunity that you might have. Target the businesses or the industries that you're interested in. You know, passion and enthusiasm is absolutely critical, and I think start from that standpoint. As a business, we did a piece of research a few years ago that identified megatrends which were affecting global businesses, and one of those megatrends was technology revolution, of which automation and digitisation is clearly a key part. But actually what automation is doing is giving people the opportunity to reskill, upskill and change what they might have been doing for a number of years and try something different within the workplace. I think AI and automation, you know, is creating different ways of working and a next generation of workers, really. People want to be engaged by employment in different ways. The permanent job for life, as we just said, does exist in some places, but actually there is a new set of people that want to be engaged on a contract, temp, freelance basis. And that's of the people that we surveyed, 87% of people want to be engaged in a different way, but only 32% of employers are willing to offer these new ways of working. So I think that flexibility and allowing people to work in a way that benefits them is absolutely critical to businesses that want to flourish within the future. The talent that is going to grow your business needs to be engaged and be given the responsibility and autonomy to do their roles in a way that suits them. But I think, you know, being engaged in a flexible way is absolutely critical to people feeling happy and comfortable in their jobs and ultimately wanting to either stay with an employer or certainly circle back and maybe work with them over a period of time over the course of their career. I think it's probably fair to say in, you know, the manufacturing and production industry. Within our business we work with a lot of car manufacturers, and that's where we've seen significant change. You know, the frontline factory workers all used to be done manually, and now increasingly those types of activities are being undertaken by robots. I mean, I think it's affecting everybody, but clearly there are areas where some people are being affected more, such as the blue collar worker, as you've said. But I think it's changing the way how businesses operate. But I think ultimately businesses that don't embrace change and don't embrace automation, they are going to have their ability to affect wealth and jobs, you know, affected by that. You know, you need to be able to embrace this change in order to prosper, and it's critical to economic growth. I am Jo Taylor, I'm Client Services Director from Manpower Group Solution, and I think if I start from an employer perspective to start off with, I think the way in which you've recruited talent into your business over the last few years, it may have worked, it may still work to a degree, but what I would do is urge you to look at your needs over the next 3 to 5 to 10 years and then really look at how you're going to engage the right people to deliver your business, its products, its services and ultimately economic growth throughout that time. I think you've got to have a strategy which is adaptable and which is flexible, and that might be that, you know, permanent recruitment, a combination with contract is what you're looking to do. But I think it's more about be open to trying different things. The way in which the workforce and the landscape is going, the war for talent is not going anywhere, so you need to be a little bit more flexible and take a few more risks in order to engage the right people for your business future. From a candidate perspective, I would say that the best piece of advice I could say is to get out there, look at what you really want to do, what engages you, what makes you happy in the job, what industries are you interested in, what companies are you interested in, and research those businesses and approach them directly. I'm not trying to do us out of a job from a recruitment business perspective, but actually from your own perspective, don't just rely on third parties, take the initiative, do your research, find out something you're really interested in and make that connection directly. And also make sure that from a social channel perspective that you've got a LinkedIn profile, that you've not got things on your social channels that you wouldn't maybe want future employers to find out, and generally just make yourself more available and make yourself more attractive to prospective employers.
Jo Taylor there from the Manpower Group Solutions, a fantastic program as well. And if you're thinking to yourself that you don't know what to do when it comes to employing new members of staff or how AI automation is going to affect your business, then make certain you tune into that program and have a listen to it. It's very interesting because she gives an insight from an employer's perspective. So if you want to find out more about that, and you want to find out Jo, very, very knowledgeable lady. If you want to find out more, just go along to the website and just have a gander at that programme. There's 260 odd programmes on the website as well. So just go to businessconnectionslive.com. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, do you know what, I'd love to have a programme just like this one for my organisation. Perhaps you're sending out a newsletter at the moment. You know, you're sending out a piece of paper each and every month and you want to turn your readers into viewers. Well, why don't you create a programme just like this one? We know the very people you should be talking to when it comes to producing content for your website. And that's what we're looking for now. They say in a couple of years' time, most websites will end up looking like multimedia television channels. That's the way things are going. You look at the radio stations, for instance, LBC, which is now not just in London, but is nationwide on DAB. LBC are regularly putting their programmes not only on the radio, but also streaming them live so you can actually see the interviews. That content is becoming increasingly more and more valuable. LinkedIn, of course, at the moment are just about to launch LinkedIn Live. It's been in beta since the beginning of the year. We're hoping to be on LinkedIn Live very shortly. But once again, this shows you the importance of video as part of your marketing, your awareness campaign that you have out there. My one request is please, no more car videos. Because to me, when I see a car video, there's a bit of me that is now saying, you haven't thought this through. There was one guy that I did start to watch. I left it running in the background. He rambled on for 15 minutes. He's got a lovely car, but quite frankly, what was coming out of his face was a waste of time. Think it through. How are you going to engage your audience? What are the things that are going to be important to your audience? Now, with a program like this, you can actually sit down for a moment and you can structure it. We structure this program. Every guest who comes on the program has to fill in a form. And they send back the form to us, and that form tells us the core topics we're going to be talking about, where we need to go, what the key learnings are. Now, how many of those car videos do you see on LinkedIn where someone's actually stopped for a moment and thought, what's in it for the viewer? Now, if you'd like a program like this one, why don't you get in touch with us here at Business Connections Live? It's dead easy to do. You can drop us an email to studio@businessconnectionslive.com. If you wish, even better still, pick the phone up and give us a call on 01 784 256 777. You can follow our stream of consciousness simply by going to our Twitter account at BCLbusinesstv. Do people still use Twitter, do you think?
Yeah, I hope so, because I have 30,000 people follow me on there. So
yeah.
That's what Twitter tells me.
They're just waiting. They can't wait for the next Twitter to come from Ian Dickson. So you follow us on Twitter if you wish. You can also watch the programme live and leave comments on our Facebook page, both my personal page and also the business page as well. That's on Facebook. And what else is there? Oh, of course, the website where you'll find all the programs with the show notes as well, for that matter, at businessconnectionslive.com. You're watching Business Connections Live. It's great to have your company. Well, live today, my guest on the show is Ian Dickson, international business speaker. We've known Ian for a long time, and the content that he comes out with, you may well have heard some of it, but he's always got a different take on the content. It's all about sharing and reinforcing the important stuff when you're running your own business. And Ian has introduced a brand new event that he does each year. It's called the BIG100 Business Tips, where he will stand up and he will deliver 100 tips. We're going to do as many as we possibly can today. We've done 2 so far, so the chances of us doing any more than 20 are going to be really pushed, aren't they?
See how we get on. Let's see how we get on. Listen, I brought 100 with me.
You brought 100 with you. Okay, let's go for the next one. We've done 2 where we were looking at money. I'll get me dinger ready. So far away. Where are we going next?
Right, so let's do the USP is dead.
The what?
The USP is dead.
Is it?
Yeah, finished. Like, complete waste of time.
So unique selling point or unique selling proposition?
Whatever you want to call it. But everybody understands. It's like any business owner that as soon as they start, they understand the concept of a USP. People will say, well, what's your USP? So even at the business show this year, people were pitching the whole USP thing. You could hear some of the other. For me, it's finished. It's been finished for years. So, and on the way up here today on the motorway was a really good analogy of why it's finished. So driving up the M3 and lots of traffic, and it's either grey, white or black cars. And if you go at dusk, they even look the same shape. So we don't want to be different. We actually all want to fit in. So car manufacturers don't want to make anything different because they're frightened we won't buy it. So trying to spend your life, and especially trying to do something in business that is fundamentally different to anybody else so that you'll be remembered, for me, is a complete waste of time. So the fired question straight back move. So
what is the converse of that?
Right.
Then?
So
yes. What replaces it?
Yeah. So the question that I like to ask people is that, rather than tell me why you're different, because it's almost impossible, what makes you remarkable? What makes your business remarkable? And as a mindset shift, to go away and think about that as a concept rather than what am I doing that makes us different? So if you're standing up at a networking event, whether you're doing a classic pitch or whatever it might be, rather than talk about how you're different, talk about how you're remarkable. And if you can't tell somebody how you're remarkable, then that's the great coachy delivery. Then that's what you need to go away and work on.
So then, ladies and gentlemen, the USB
is dead.
Is dead. Next tip.
Play home and away when you go networking.
Matron.
Yeah, I've got a couple of sexy ones on here. So playing home and away. Play home and away. So people ask me how much networking is enough. And networking in 15 years still sits in the top 3 to 5 things that you should be doing to get yourself known.
Is it because we don't do it properly? Is that why people will say, well, I tried networking?
So we could do a whole hour just on networking.
I know we could, I know. It's a stupid question.
So it's the short answer is yes, people aren't doing it properly. But some are, some aren't. So I just did a big article on it. There are lots of different flavours of networking. And one of the other tips we'll come to in a sec, which I think is a new flavour that's arriving. So we're home and away. So this was how much networking should I do? So for me, and this is classic Ian makeup stuff. So for me is I find a home game. So where is my home place that I love to network, where everybody knows me and I feel at home? I should be there at least once, hopefully twice a month. And then every month play an away game. And then wherever I go as an away game, look to bring people to my home game or to share or to grow my network. So, but physically play home twice and play away once. Your away game doesn't have to be a traditional networking event. It could be an expo, it could be the business show, it could be just a gathering of business people, but essentially it's you can't stop business people from networking if you put enough of them together. So home and away, your networking is the tip.
Next.
Process, not outcome. So if you and I'm not suggesting that we need to, but if you and I wanted to get fit, and the thought of going...
This manly frame. What's he trying to say exactly?
We're both big units, aren't we? So let's be honest. If I said to you, let's go and do some boot camps or get down the gym, it's just abhorrent. I couldn't think of anything less likely to want to do. But if I said to you, do you fancy a game of tennis? And every Saturday we went and played tennis. Love it. So, and then the outcome of, or go for a swim. We talked earlier about going for a swim. The outcome of the process is that you've got yourself fit. So process, not outcome. Forget about the outcome. Find something that makes the process enjoyable. So this absolutely translates across to marketing, admin, anything to do with your business processes. If these are, I got this right back on year one. They said to me, the shortest route to market is that thing there that you pick up and you ring people. And if you ring 80 people, you will get 5 or 6 appointments. If you get 5 or 6 appointments, you'll probably get to go to 3. If you can get to go to 3, one of them might buy from you. I couldn't think of anything less enjoyable to do. So I worked out, what do I love to do? And so my marketing, the process of my marketing, I love doing it. If I don't get business from it, but of course I do, but if I didn't get business from it, I'm enjoying the process. So
what do you do then in that case? And I don't want to sue because we've got so many to get through, but if you're saying to me that's an effective process to do it, shouldn't we be looking at the effectiveness of the process that we're going down?
So, it's such a big topic. In fact, one of the
other
ones,
show.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is really important to share is that this old cliche analogy of somebody down a really, really deep hole with a pick, and they say, just keep going because you never know just how close you might be. I just think it's Billy BS nowadays is that we live in a world where get out of that hole. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, dig another one, dig another one, dig another one. Go try lots of different things. So if you don't enjoy yourself on LinkedIn, get yourself on Instagram. If you don't like Instagram, get on Facebook. But try lots of different things. My advice is that you need to do all of those things. So, but I would encourage you to try lots and lots of different things because you'll find a process that you enjoy.
And there's nothing wrong with having a process that you enjoy. So enjoy the process. Another ding?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ding it is. Next one, please.
A really nice, short and simple one. This is fresh this year. And to let our viewer know that every year we bring at least half of the Big 100 is new. So if you've come before, this year's content, a lot of it's going to be new. So this is definitely new for this year. A sexy symbol for business is greater than. A sexy symbol for business is greater.
What do you mean by that?
So this came from a coaching session. Somebody had spent ages and ages filling a whiteboard with targets for their sales team. It was covered in numbers. And don't get me wrong, it was a valid exercise. I just rubbed it all out and I just put the greater than sign up on the board. I said, that's all they've got to do. Because
that really is all they want to do. That's what they're trying to achieve.
How simple can you make it? The simpler I can make something for somebody, it takes all the excuses off the table for not doing it. All you've got to do is be better than you were last month. All you've got to do is greater than this, greater than that. Of course, where appropriate, less than. But if you can get it down to that single sexy symbol, greater than, you're good.
There's one on there that you've kind of gone by and I'm just intrigued by. It says, this isn't Tinder. What's that all about then?
Happened to me today. Happened to me today. So, somebody asked to connect with you on LinkedIn and then they want to go to bed with you. This is like, that's how quickly it happens. Is it just me? Am I the only one that gets it?
You're the only one that gets them like that, trust me.
I asked this question. I did a thing at for a charity. In fact, it was a group of charities. It was a mini Big 100 actually, but it was just for charity. And I did this Tinder thing, and there was 2 people in the audience didn't know what Tinder was. So Tinder is obviously a dating website for those that don't know, but it is probably a shorter route to market. They're not interested in dinner and a drink. They just want to find somebody to go to the hotel room with. And business connections isn't Tinder. So when people connect with me on LinkedIn, and then send me a message in my inbox saying, by the way, do you want to buy my stuff? I send them a note back saying, this isn't Tinder. I want dinner first, and I certainly want to be bought a few drinks. I might even want to go out a few times before you invite me upstairs.
Now, there are people that will disagree with this because this is the dance, this is the LinkedIn and social media dance that people talk about. If we look at our profiles is a soft pitch anyway. We are already selling the moment we go on the LinkedIn.
Right.
It's a professional network, and there is this divide now that says, some people say, listen, cut out the dance, let's get on with business. Right. And others are saying, I want to have a relationship with you before we get on with business. When I go to Sainsbury's, I don't need a relationship with the checkout girl for me to buy something.
And people do it because it works. People send spam email because it works.
Yeah.
And people post into people's messages because it messengers.
John Nemo is a guy that is prolific on LinkedIn. If you link in with him, it's his book. He gives a bit of free stuff away, but it's all about getting you into a process with him.
Differentiator for me, and this just came from a meeting on Friday, is that my wall is my wall and is like, that's my space. And if you like stuff on my wall, that's great. Facebook and LinkedIn specifically. As soon as you post in Messenger, you're now coming through my letterbox.
Now we're talking about Facebook, aren't we?
Yeah, Facebook or Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger. Yeah. As soon as you start messaging me, you've now crossed over a line from something that's yours to something that's mine. And that's why people, for me, that's why there is this divide that people don't necessarily like.
All right,
because you're stepping over a line.
So social media then, when it comes to dealing with people, as far as Ian Dickson, international business speaker, is concerned, it isn't Tinder.
Right. We're going again?
Yep.
Width and depth funnels. So rather than write down a list of things that you do to go to market, put them across the page. So that gives you a width, and think of it as a fishing net. So the wider the net that is, the more likely it is that you're going to catch fish.
I like this one.
Yeah, so I draw this out. So I get clients to draw it out. So normally you say to people, write me down the things that you do to go to market. They'll form a list, normally 5 or 6 things. So if you encourage people to do it across the page, you can start to almost get embarrassed by how narrow that is. So you want it as wide as you can get it. So I encourage people to add things to their list every year, every month. And then we start working on the depth of those things. So how prolific, how often are you working with the social platforms? How often do you go networking? How often do you update your website? Because then you're creating depth on your width. And if you can think of it as a trawler net or a fishing net, if my net is wider and deeper than yours, I'm definitely going to catch more fish than you. So there's an argument that says that if you have too wide and too deep a net, you're going to catch all sorts of stuff. I get all that. You know, I talk about the fact that take time to identify the animal that you want to catch and create a weapon that's appropriate for it. But straight out marketing, wide and deep, create a funnel that's wide and deep.
Okay, one more ding on that then. There we go. And more from Ian Dickson in just a few moments' time, the Big 100 business tips. Don't know how many we've actually done there, but we've done quite a few, haven't we? And we hope you're finding this really useful. And as you can see, there are differing views as well. So, I mean, you're allowed to have your view. Just pick and choose. Pick a mix. Whichever ones you think are going to be useful to you, then please write them down and use them in your business. You're watching Business Connections Live. Ian Dickson is my guest on today's programme. Let's go back to another programme where we were looking at transformational steps to sales success. This was Business Connections Live 252. My guest on the show was Rupert Honeywood. This went out at the beginning of the year on the 18th of February. And it was a cracking show. 7 transformational steps to sales success. Now, Rupert is a LinkedIn, a social media expert, and he knows what he's doing here. What he will do is that he will, on your behalf, talk to your connections and put them in the mode so that they're ready to be spoken to. I suppose what he does is what you were talking about. He does the dance with them. He talks to them, he qualifies them, and then presents them back to you so that they're actually ready to then do business with you. The show's a cracker. It teaches you how you can use a proven system using social media and how you can find 100 cold leads in your chosen target market and turn those into 8 to 13 hot prospects. A really good show, well worth watching. Again, Rupert, as always, is a mine of very, very valuable information. Just to give you a bit of a taste there, here are the key takeaways from the 7 transformational steps for success with Rupert Honeywood.
Fundamentally, it is about putting the right systems and processes in place. Remember that we are dealing in a true global economy at the moment. If you plug it very much into the 7 transformational steps and expert systems, and in particular make sure those 3 cogs are working well, which is to do with the lead generation part, prospect nurturing part and sales optimization systems, make sure those are all turning in sync. You'll end up with a well-oiled machine and you'll end up with lots of sales-based opportunities on the back of it. Well, fundamentally, it's about defining and owning your market, also presenting yourself as the expert and not hiding your existence online. It is about using the social selling blueprint, so lead generation system, prospect nurturing, sales optimization system. And it's also about knowing your numbers. And knowing your numbers is so important because that way you can determine how much you can really afford to invest in the growth of your business and how you can move it on to another level.
Terrific programme there from Rupert Honeywood. Really enjoyed his show when he came on. 18th of Feb is when it was on the air. Business Connections Live 252. And don't forget there's over 260 individual programmes on our website at businessconnectionslive.com. You get show notes there as well. We also tell you about some of the other services that we provide businesses, well, just like yours. Things like our media training, how you can have a business showcase where we do a short version of the program. If you're a speaker and you're looking for a showcase video, a show reel to show prospective bookers how good you are, you can also get in contact with us and find out more simply by going to the website. It's right here in front of you at businessconnectionslive.com. My guest on today's show is Ian Dickson, international business speaker. We're talking about the Big 100 business tips. This comes from an event that he runs each and every year where he invites businesses just like yours to come along. It's a great day out. It's a great networking opportunity as well. We'll give you details on how you can book your tickets a little bit later on in the program, but we're looking at just some of those Big 100 business tips on today's edition of Business Connections Live. We've got through quite a few. We've lost count already, so where are we up to? What's next?
Right, let's give you some. Have we got any quickies on here? So the 3:30 rule. So you get 3 seconds to earn the right for the next 30 seconds. This show is a really good example. Anything that is outward facing, you've got 3 seconds to earn the right for 30 seconds. You've got 30 seconds to get 3 minutes of their time. 3 minutes will give you 30 minutes. If you can get 30 minutes, you're in. So
That's the one.
3:30, yeah.
We got it.
7, 10, 5. 7 hours, 10 times, 5 different methods. 7, 10, 5.
Explain more.
For anybody to even begin to remotely show any interest in what you're doing, especially online, you have to get 7 hours of exposure 10 times using 5 different methods. And that's not to get them to buy, that's to get them to stop, look and listen. So, it could be you sit behind a wrapped van for 15 seconds. It could be then you see something flash up on a Facebook page. It could be that you then meet them at networking. And so you're stacking up the time. You're getting lots of different methods and you're doing it on different platforms over multiple times. And so the reality check, which is what we were talking about earlier, just how long and how vastly underestimated it is on how much is enough. And I think once I've encouraged people to actually pin this up, this 7, 10, 5, these 3 numbers, because I think people just don't realise just how much is have I got to do.
Well, most businesses live in a world of obscurity, don't they? People just don't know you're there. There will be people watching this, they don't know you're there, they've never heard of me before. In fact, they haven't heard of the program before, they've stumbled across us. No, but it's true. We and it's interesting because some of the networking organisations out there and some of the speakers who are involved with them, in their immediate circle, they are well known, they are recognised, but step outside of that silo that they're in and nobody knows who they are.
Yeah, so I think the nice thing is that because 15 years ago, if I wanted to invite people to an event, I would send out 5,000 envelopes in the post to get 30 people to come. And so then when you start getting onto your online platforms, you've almost got to put 2 noughts on the end of that to get the same kind of response. Because I've been able to sit both sides of how business has changed. It's the reality of it. So, getting 200 people Freud, getting 200 people to come to an event, especially nowadays, actually getting people to come to events actually got harder. So it's because
These webinar has taken over.
Well, it's you. It's just you putting stuff on there.
Stuff like this, isn't it?
But that's the
We're doing the event. You don't need to go. You don't need to go now. So, this is it.
And I think one of the big messages which should definitely be coming out this year is that it's an experience. So, and there is just as much gets taken from the people in the room as there is that comes from the stage.
Exactly. I was on a training course last weekend and it was the people in the room that I got the most benefit from.
You can't
the trainer was very good as well, but it was
the energy and
the whole energy
people in the room. Yeah, it opens people up. And there's it sounds like a sales pitch, but I promise you it's not. When you pay or commit to doing something and you say, yes, I'm going to do that, the very minute you say yes to that and I'm going to do it, the process of development begins because you've committed, you're on your way. So it's a bit like when you book a holiday, you enjoy the run in. So the last minuters in this world, I'm not out to change last minuters, it's just how you're wired, miss out on this. People that book and book early, they definitely get more from it because they have this preparation time. They know that it's coming.
And just summarise it again, it is the actual line that you use is where you started with this?
Money loves?
No. For this particular tip.
Oh, right. I can't remember. Oh, 7:10.5 we were on.
Yeah, and you're back in the room.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
7:10.5.
Yeah, and 3:30 we did. Let's have another one. So, Facebook groups are your new data lists.
What do you mean by that?
So we sort of touched on last time about how, I think you asked me, your leading question was...
do you have a list?
No, have I made mistakes or what would I change? So I let go of my data list too early. I just basically laziness. I stopped keeping data up together. And then the social networks actually really helped me. So because you've now got community and you've got groups of people that actually opt in. So I don't need to worry about it.
So do you have a Facebook group that is yours now that people can... And the thing that's interesting is that Facebook are about to monetize that.
Absolutely, yeah.
But there are some people already out there who are probably breaking the rules, but monetising membership to these exclusive groups.
Yeah.
Is that something that you see as interesting?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was on a sunbed in Mexico in December, just gone, the name dropping, but I pressed the go live button before we came home on My Business Academy, which is my Facebook group, and we had 250 people in there before I got back. In 7 days we had 250 people in there. We're just shy of 600 people in it. It's all open. I do videos every week. I give PDFs away. We've got books, we've got experts, but it's my community, and these are all people. I've never invited a soul. Not a person. They've all asked to join. So now, just tell me how else you can get that kind of. It's very, very powerful.
And, very, very
powerful. So, because whilst the numbers aren't huge, everybody in there has opted in. They want to be there. They asked to join. They didn't only ask to join, they answered questions to join. So you know that they want to be there. And it's incredibly active. Engagement is very, very high. Over 450 people of those 560 engage every week.
Fantastic. So there's another one.
Yep. Home and away we did airplane mode. Right, so last year it was described as protect your attention. This year it's airplane mode. So what I say to people is at least once a week we can put our phones in airplane mode. I did it before we sat down today. But I say to people, put your life in airplane mode at least once a week. Turn everything off for at least an hour or two, 3, half a day if you can. But put your life in airplane mode and then concentrate on you stuff, family stuff. It could be business, but WhatsApp, Messenger, email, phone calls, all of those things.
They're all interruptions, aren't they?
They're absolutely disruptors. So put yourself in airplane mode at least. Schedule.
And the apps themselves are written in such a way that they are addictive.
Of course, yeah. So I coach a company that's preschool nurseries, 3 to 5 year olds, and they've been doing that for 20, 30 years. And they have had an incredible, clearly identified a drop in the communication skills of the youngsters because their parents are pushing pushchairs on their phones.
Well, it's not even that, I think. I think as a granddad, they are electronic dummies.
Yeah.
You know, for a moment, if you want a bit of peace when you're eating, you hand your smartphone over and they can watch a video. You couldn't do that before, and I think the trouble is that once that becomes a habit, they too become addicted to it. And of course, the problem then that you have is weaning them off. Now, if you're having trouble weaning the children off it, you can have super huge problems weaning adults.
It's very sad. I honestly have no answers. I know that there are children that know how to swipe before they can speak. You know, they understand the connection.
It's when you see them pick a magazine up and they swipe the magazine to try to change the picture. I've seen that. I mean, it's very true. Another great tip then, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Moving on.
Another one. Video killed the blogging star.
Exactly.
This one's just for you.
Hurrah for that.
So I had a good friend of mine. He was doing what I went to see him in due diligence when I first started 15 years ago. He left this profession and went back into the Navy. He's come back out of the Navy 10, 12 years after and said, I'm thinking about coming back into coaching. Top tip. And I said to him, video. You've got to get in front of video, but invest in a professional or get yourself professionally tuned in, you know, so that you're not sitting in cars or just sitting in front of
It's just a bugbear of mine.
Yeah, I listen, I don't disagree with you. I think actually it's that whole thing about being remarkable and to define what remarkable is, what's the difference between that one and that one that makes that remarkable. And if you invest in things like green screen, studios, these things you can do to a certain degree at home. But
do you know, I think the other problem with the car videos, and maybe it's not even the fact they're in the car, it's the fact that they are inherently they are monologues.
Yeah.
And they just don't engage. They say that if you're doing a video production, I mean, for instance, we've got loads of different camera angles here. So, you know, you've got this shot of me, there's a wide shot. You watch it all happen as I say it. Wide shot, then there's a reverse shot over the shoulder. There's Ian, there's this shot. And the whole idea of that is that they are acting as disruptors in what you're watching. Why do you think you have so many different camera angles? If you were watching Glastonbury yesterday, hundreds of cameras all over the place, moving cameras, because what they're doing is that the moment you've sat for 90 seconds talking down the lens, hello, I'm in a car right now telling you about how great I am. Once that monologue has gone past 90 seconds and nothing as far as the background or the look has changed, we do start to drift, particularly if the information isn't that engaging, because it is all about engagement. So yes, video did kill the vlogging star, but video has the potential to kill the video star, I think.
How does that work?
In as much as, because they're not doing it right, we're not doing it as well as we could.
I don't think there is mediocre video. It's either good or bad. So, it's almost sort of car crash worthy if you see really bad video. So I still think that we are so on literally second one of the whole video world. So we're still finding our way. And what I say to business owners that struggle, you meet some of these people at network and you think, we don't want you doing video. In fact, we struggle with you doing breakfast. So you've got to find, some people just aren't gifted in that way. So you've got to find other ways for them to do video. The answer is you still have to be able to present your business in video. And it comes back to having a relationship with people because they feel that they know who you are. So I would say even if you did videos that don't include you, on the contrary, videos that don't include you, it could be a product video, it could be videos of images with a nice audio backtrack. So you guys are the professional, you guys are the people to talk to about how best to present a business in video. So it doesn't have to be this way, you can do it other ways too. So. Another tip, so video killed the vlogging star. Yep. Tell you what we're going to do now, we're going to have a little break, give you a breath. Some really good tips here, by the way, if you don't mind me saying. Fabulous. Good. That's lucky, isn't it? Because, when's the event coming up? It's not till October, but we're well on our way. Tickets are going well, aren't they? We sell out every year. So, and of course, because we're on our third year, some people have booked early. So, I think it tells you exactly on the website how many tickets we've got left and what have you. So, but it's October. It's on a Saturday this year as well. So this will be new for me. I've always tried to do these events Monday to Friday, but again, feedback from people that struggle to come because they're running businesses, can't get away during the week. So we thought, well, let's come down to the seaside and make a weekend of it, come and spend a Saturday with everybody and then, have a nice evening and get back away on the Sunday. So sounds fantastic. More details if you want to find out more about the BIG100 business event, then if you have a look at the page at businessconnectionslive.com. Just have a look there. You'll find the program page with all the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget you can leave a comment as well, but the best place to go to is here. Go here because that's where all the show notes are. Also, if you're downloading as well on iTunes, thank you very much indeed for doing that. Do leave a comment as well if you find these business tips helpful. That would be very helpful. Also, go to the website. I've got the website here at the moment. This is what you find there. If we just missed Brad Burton there, but if you go along to the website, you'll see a list of all the programs that are here. A little bit about the CPD media training courses that we do. If you need media training, if you need to find out how to handle the media, then get in contact with the CEO. You get 6 credits if you need CPD accreditation for anything as well. Actually, a video there from Steve Mills, how to use video to massively grow your business. Or as it says, actually, I've just realised on the graphic, how to massively grow your business. Grow. It is actually a graphic that's got a stammer. So to grow your business, you've got the likes of Frank Furness there as well. Over 266 programs. And we also offer services like this, how you can be an expert on the program. And if you just go to this page, you'll see more about how you can be an expert on the show. Fill in the form and we'll tell you. And these are the packages that we've got for you, so you can find out how you can be an expert guest on the program. But here's the important bit, what's going on here. The key benefits to you as a business. Position yourself as an industry expert. Improve and grow your personal brand. Use it as part of your media campaigns on social media. Create great press releases from the transcriptions. Just get rid of that there.
and exit that. And then your video improves SEO on your page. Introduce yourself. Use it as a calling card to new clients. Use it as part of a cross-media campaign on radio, television. Somewhere when you send people, then there's something going to be there. And then broadcast opportunities as well. Raise your profile and brand to other broadcasters. Use it as part of your show reel. Just go to that page to find out how you can be a business show expert guest with us here at Business Connections Live. We're talking about the Big 100 business tips, and joining me in the studio today is Ian Dickson, international business speaker. I cannot believe that we are into the last quarter.
Yes,
it's flown by.
I did just check my watch and
where's the hour gone?
So.
Okay, then. So I've got my dinger. I'm nearly ready. Give us another couple before we do the key takeaways. If there is such a thing today.
It's not meant to be easy.
Right.
So less than 1% of the world's population are crazy enough to take on business ownership. So there's a reason for that. So, and once you get your head around, this is one of those mindset ones, once you get your head around the fact that it is actually meant to be tough, you've got to basically toughen up and make some decisions about whether or not it's something that you want to be in and doing. So if you think about athletes and people in sport, they don't choose it because it's easy. They want the reward and the sense of achievement off the back of that hard work. And so people do come to me and they ask me for shortcuts and they ask me for tricks and tips and hints and what have you. We can give you those, but underneath that, you still have to do the hard work. So once you get your head around the fact that it's not easy, it is meant to be tough, your mindset and your approach to it should be different. So there is no change of direction without, it's probably another tip, but it is in line with that. So
is it worth it?
Yeah, go on.
There we go.
Because I know you want to do the dinger. So friction. So a car will not move forward and will not change direction without friction. So look for friction and expect pain is the tip. Look for friction and expect pain. Because if you want to move forward and you want to change direction, you need to create the friction. And that's where your sense of achievement will come from. So it's almost embrace it, look for it, and what do I call it? Desirable discomfort is the way I word.
Desirable discomfort.
You like that one?
I like that one. There we go.
We all buy passively. So we talked about this one earlier before we came on air. A really, really good tip for people to go away and look at is everything that is outward facing. Are you giving enough information out so that people can make a decision about whether or not they want to buy from you without you having to speak to them? It's a skill in its own right. Some people call it social selling, passive buying. There's lots of new terminology for these things. But I think that we very much live in a world where the guy that used to come, or the girl that used to come up to you in the shop and say, can I help you, is gone. We are left, the last 2 cars I bought, I didn't speak to a human being. Probably the last 5 holidays I went on, I didn't speak to anybody. I just went and did my research and then bought. So, and I think that's the world we live in today. So everything that's outward facing needs to be clear enough for people to make a judged decision so that they then come to you and say, how do I buy your stuff? So,
okay, that's another dinger. There we go. Moving on.
Never close a sale.
Never close a sale?
Never close a sale. I've never understood the terminology. I've done the width funnel with you. Another funnel that I've created is like a dicky bow tie or like a butterfly, is that you turn your traditional sales funnel on its side. Everything that you do to get people into your funnel to get them to the sale is only half of the process. You then have exactly the same out the other side, and everything that you're doing on one side should have the same amount of activity on the other side of the sale. And so you're not actually closing a sale, you're opening a sales relationship. It costs money and costs time and costs effort to get people to buy from you. And in the world we live in today, you want people to stay. So everything that's going on one side should have balance on the other, and then you bring them back round again, either with somebody with them, or, I had a funeral director say to me, once I've closed a sale, I've closed a sale. And I said, well, I'm sure they've got friends, family, relatives, and everything else. So, there's other ways that you can, there's always a smart ass in the audience, Steve, you know that. So,
yeah, always.
So, always, never close a sale. So.
Never close a sale. Let's give it the ding then. One more like this, because I'm going to ask you to do rapid fire at the end for a minute.
Right.
See how maybe we can pop in. Okay. So just give us one more in detail now.
Okay. Again, new for this year, and all the web devs that watch your show today will love me for this one. Your website is never finished. Your website is never finished. I meet lots of business owners that, for them, spend £1,500, £2,000 on a website, and then my description is that they dress their salesman, give him a folder, and they push him out the door and don't talk to him for 2 years.
Exactly. And that is website design for you.
There you go.
It?
So,
yeah.
It's never finished. So schedule monthly, quarterly, weekly updates, whether it be assets of any description, video, blogging, social media feed, even if it's just SEO updates, optimization updates, as in changing some of the copy to make sure that you're still flavour of the month. So
something we do regularly and worth another thing as well. Listen, I don't know how many we got through. Nobody was counting. But
I think we did better than I thought we were going to do.
Well, as I said, Ian's now going to do a bit of a quick fire. Do we want the dings on that? Perhaps we do. I don't know. We'll see what we can do. It's always the key bit down camera, who you are, where you're from.
Right.
And as many as you can fit in that you feel is reasonable.
Okay.
Which will be very interesting. Straight down camera number 4. As always, it's been a pleasure having you on the program. We'll have a look at the website and also your other documentation in just a moment. But let me get my phone keeps going to sleep on me, which is very embarrassing. So there you go. Recognise me? Right, suit yourself. Okay, straight down camera number 4. This one over here. Who you are, where you're from, and don't forget to introduce yourself. Take it away.
Hello there, my name is Ian Dickson. I'm an international business speaker and business performance coach. And you've joined me today on Business Connections Live. We've been sharing business tips literally one after another, and I'm going to reel off some now and see if we can get some done in 60 seconds. So here we go. This isn't Tinder. This isn't Tinder. Your website is never finished. Hybrid networking is a thing. Video killed the blogging star. Facebook groups is your new data list. Walls are walls, messages is my inbox. The USP is dead. Width and depth funnels. Dicky bow tie funnels. Sex symbols for business is greater than. Put your business in airplane mode. Oh my God, have we done enough?
No.
So 7, 10, 5, 7 hours, 10 times, 5 different ways. The 3:30 rule. Play home and away with your networking.
Give us 3 more.
It's never meant to be easy. What else have I got? I think I've done everything that I had on my initial list here. Yeah. So long and short, and slow and long. So online is quick, offline is slow. Marketing.
Fantastic, Ian Dickson. And we'll give you the 3 bells at the end. Well done. That was a tough old call there at the end. Well done. If you want to find out more about Ian, you can see we've got some of his documentation here. The 100 game changers for your business. Oh, I think we've got the key on that, but never mind. There's Ian Dickson there. That's a great booklet. Let's just have a quick look inside. So there's loads of information, Coach, Grandad, and more. There is a new version of this that is available. It says 2019 on it, but yesterday you said tomorrow. Well, that's today. This is a great book, but a great workbook for you to live through your year with as well. If you want to find out more about his website, you can go to his website at iandixon.co.uk. Here's the website. Unlock your success. Are you looking for an experienced international and motivational business speaker, or maybe you're ready for some personal 122 business coaching or one-to-one business coaching from one of UK's leading business coaches? Loads of events there, loads of videos on the page as well. You can join Ian's Facebook groups. You can find out more about his events. You can go along to his multi-award-winning coaching sessions. You can find out more about Ian simply by going to the website at www.iandixon.co.uk. It's been a great show. Really enjoyed it today.
Fabulous. Where else can you go and get 260 hours of business content? Honestly, I don't know anywhere else. I've Googled it.
There is nowhere else. That's why we are the UK's #1 leading business channel, and we are hoping, as I said earlier on, to be on LinkedIn Live very shortly. Currently in beta, they're giving it out slowly but surely, and we are just waiting for the appropriate results to come through. But yeah, thank you very much for doing that.
Well, thank you for inviting me back and giving me a chance to indulge and share, so it's always good fun.
I'm going to ask a favour now. What I'd like to do, when it gets closer to your event, can we give one place away to go to the event so that it isn't 250?
Yeah.
It's 251 who are going to be there.
It's actually 200, but if we get 250, if we get 250, and we get the extra 50 because of the show, you can have all of those 50.
Oh, what a lovely man you are.
Absolutely. We'll give a ticket away. Let's do
that, and we'll organise something, and we'll run that across all our social media channels. If you want to go along, it's worth £100, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's worth infinitely more than £100.
Well,
it's
£100 to buy it, pound a tip.
Yeah.
But if you apply it to your business, it could be worth to your business millions of pounds.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So we'll sort that out, and we'll let you know. And all you got to do is keep watching the programme here at Business Connections Live. Ian, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
What have we got coming up in the future for you? Well, coming up on future programmes next week, we've got Alistair Greener. He's going to be talking about how to raise your own personal profile. That'll be a fascinating show with Alistair. David Richards is coming on. Identifying the value in your business and then knowing what your proposition is when you go out there. A lot of us, when we're asked what our business does, we just really don't have a clear view on it. So David's going to be talking about that. Penny Haslam, the award-winning inspirational speaker, is going to be on the program. Warren Knight, he's got a new book coming out later on this year. He's a professional speaker on digital technology. He's going to be with us in the near future. Susan Armstrong, she's a speaker and author. When she talks about leadership, she's very good. And the lovely Deborah Hume, who was on a couple of weeks ago, is going to be coming back onto the live show again. She's a director of Minerva Engagement. That wraps up today's programme. Shall we get the heck out of here? It's getting quite warm with all the heat. Hope you had a really hot, warm weekend. We do it all again next Monday when we're live here at Business Connections Live. But from myself, Steve Hyland, and Ian Dickson, have a great week. Till next week, bye for now. Bye-bye.
Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel.